Sweet, here we go. It's time to talk about how we would graph a parabola by hand. Um, Now, your graphing calculator is definitely a great tool to have, but sometimes it just works a little bit quicker when you know how to use all the shortcuts. So when you're in standard form, you can still find the vertex by hand. What you would want to do is you have to know that the x-coordinate is going to be the opposite of b divided by 2a. And that'll give you the x-coordinate of your vertex. And then all you have to do is substitute that back in to find your y value. So we'll talk about the first one over here because we're in standard form. The vertex is -6 divided by 2 times a, which is 1. So the x-coordinate is -3. And then to go find the y-coordinate, you just substitute -3 into the equation. So -3 squared plus 6 times a -3 plus 8. So that's going to give us 9 minus 18 is a -9 plus 8 is a -1. Okay, so after you find the x, you have to use that value to go find your y. But then after that, your axis of symmetry is just going to be x equals a -3. The y-intercept is always when x is equal to 0. So for that, we're just going to substitute 0 into x. That's going to give us 0 plus 0 plus 8, which is 0, 8. And again, the nice thing from the last video, when you're in standard form, 0 comma this c value is always going to be your y-intercept. Now the x-intercept sometimes is a little bit of a challenge. That's when you are equal to 0 for y. Well, for that, you're going to really want to, for now, use your calculator, just like the video said yesterday. So you do your equation in y1. So if you use your calculator for this problem, you are going to get -4, 0, and you're going to get -2, 0. Now, in the next video or two, you will figure out how to do that by hand as well. But I'll save that for that video. Okay, so the next one. Once you're in vertex form, just like yesterday or the last video, it's just going to be opposite of the inside, comma, outside for your vertex, which means the axis of symmetry is just x equals a -3. Now, to find the y-intercept by hand, again, that's just when we have 0. For our x, substitute 0 in here, we're going to get a -2 times 0 plus 3 squared minus 4. So that's going to give us 0 plus 3 squared is 9 times the -2 is a -18 minus 4 is going to give us -22. And that's our y-intercept. And then finally, for the last example, this is when you are in intercept form. So the shortcut from the last video will tell you that the intercepts are -4, 0 and 2, 0. Then the y-intercept, of course, is still going to be when x is 0. So you just substitute 0 in to x. You'll get 1/2. 0 plus 4 is 4 times 0 minus 2 is a -2. So -8 times 1/2 is going to give you a -4. Now, to find the vertex by hand when you are in intercept form, basically what you want to do is you want to take the average of your x-intercepts. That's your x-coordinate. So we have -4 and 2. -4 plus 2 is a -2. Divided by 2 is a -1. Because a vertex is basically the point where it switches and parabolas are symmetrical, you just take the average of your x-intercepts and that will give you the x-coordinate. So then you substitute the -1 back in. That's going to give you 1/2. And we have a -1 plus 4, which is 3, and a -1 minus 2, which is a -3. So that's going to give us a 3 times a -3, which is a -9. Half of that is going to give us our -4.5. or -9/2, and this means we have x is equal to -1 as our axis of symmetry. So again, all of this stuff can be done with your graphing calculator, but sometimes if you know the shortcuts, it just saves you time. And then for every one of these, just make sure you graph it carefully. you know, make sure you have everything listed. So for the first one, with all the information that you have, we know our vertex is at -3, -1. We know that our x-intercepts are -4 and -2. We know our y-intercept is at 0, 8. And then you can just use your graphing calculator and press second graph to go to the table to get a couple other good numbers. And don't forget, you must sketch your axis of symmetry, which is a vertical dashed line. And that's how you would do the first one. So for the next two, why don't you go ahead and just try really quick. And let's see if you got them correct. This one you have obviously graph your vertex. This has no x-intercepts, and that's because this opens down with a vertex that's below the x-axis, so it's never going to reach the x-axis, so no x-intercepts. Use your graphing calculator, get you a couple of points, get your graph, you're good. Second one, you had your vertex, you had your y-intercept, you had your x-intercepts, you've got other points you can get from your calculator. Just make sure your graph looks very similar to mine. And that is it for this video. Next video is going to start talking about writing equations, and then after that we're going to get into some factoring. But these two videos are going to cover how you graph parabolas. Remember, your graphing calculator is a great tool, but knowing how to do it by hand is sometimes much faster than having to press all those buttons. This is Longo, and I'm out. See you, bye.